Altruism is defined as an unselfish regard for or devotion to the welfare of others. It can also be explained as the behavior by an animal that is not beneficial to or may be harmful to itself, but that benefits others of its species.
For example, this couple desperately needs to get on this overbooked flight due to a family emergency. Dave considers the situation and decides to give up his own seat because he understands their emergency situation. He does this regardless of any compensation or benefit.
There is also the theory of the altruistic gene, which is exhibited throughout kinship. The altruistic gene is spread through the population as long as the altruism is directed at organisms that have the same gene.
Kinship is any blood relationship and common ancestry, such as these parents and their offspring. An example of this kinship altruism would be a mother running into a burning building to save her offspring. Natural selection would suggest that the mother should not go into the burning building and risk her life. However, by saving her children, she is actually indirectly saving her own genes at the cost of her own life. This is deemed as an altruistic kinship act.
We can further explain this concept by observing meerkats. In the example of meerkats, they post one or more sentries to stand guard outside the burrow, while the others forage for food or play. If a threat appears, the sentry will call an alarm, risking exposure of itself to save the others. To sum it up, the altruistic gene can be defined as any behavior that reduces an individual animal's fitness but increases the fitness of other individuals in the population.
This concept of altruism and kinship is further explained by Hamilton's rule.
Hamilton's rule is an equation which explains that the degree of altruism will be greater the closer the relationship. The equation is as follows. Relatedness is the proportion of shared genes multiplied by benefit to the recipient, the number of offspring produced, is greater than the cost to the altruist.
Reciprocal altruism refers to the human social idea and expectation that if a person performs an altruistic act, other people will perform altruistic acts in return. This is closely related to the concept of tit for tat, which is another way of saying equivalent retaliation.
Picture this scenario. You're walking down the beach and you hear a cry for help from a drowning swimmer. If you save that person, you're risking your own life and your genes. You're also increasing the odds that their genes will survive. Based on that reasoning, instinct should prevent you from jumping into the water, but in real life, people don't think that way. So why would an individual reduce their chances for survival in order to help another to survive? Well, Robert Trivers explains this in his theory of evolution of cooperation as instances of mutually altruistic acts. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours.
Animal studies suggest that vampire bats remember who have helped them and act accordingly. Researchers have observed that when a fasting female bat had previously shared her food with other females, she received more total sustenance than a selfish one. Some bats even refused to help empty-bellied donors who had previously rebuffed them. The findings suggest that female vampire bats keep track of who they can turn to in times of need, based on previous encounters, and actively work to repair relationships that have gone off track.
In contrast to altruism, there is the concept of selfishness. According to Richard Dawkins, all genes are selfish because an individual that didn't look after its own interests wouldn't survive.
The selfish gene serves as an evolutionary purpose because our ancestors had to be selfish in order to survive. Therefore, only the selfish were able to pass down their genes. This is closely related to the concept of survival of the fittest.
And that concludes our presentation on altruism. Thanks for watching.
Created using Powtoon.